Recording. All right. Hey, everybody. So we are here tonight. We're going to talk about fundraising with Jasmine and Allison tonight. So get y'all's notebooks ready and let's have some fun.
Yes. Hello, hello. I'm going to let Allison introduce herself and then I'll introduce and then go right on in.
Well, hello, and I am a whole hot mess, and I apologize for that. But I'm Allison, and I am in Ohio. I am a Sensi director, and I have been a director for 2 years. I hope that everybody has a good night, and I can't wait to hear from Ms. Jasmine.
Awesome. So my name is Jasmine. I am a superstar consultant out of Miami, Florida, and met these lovely ladies on the cruise, the Alaskan cruise that we earned the incentive for, and just excited to be here collaborating week after week and speaking about fundraisers this week. So I am super excited because I've done additional training on top of what I've known about fundraiser going into this tonight. And one of the things that I tested in my groups was what one of the superstar directors had mentioned. The challenge was, and I am challenging all of you, is to go onto your personal Facebook group, onto any of your social medias, into your VIP group, and ask a simple question. And the question is, if you have $500 to donate to any organization, which organization would you choose and why? And so what this does is to kickstart that fundraising conversation. And I tested this theory this morning at 9 a.m. and I've gotten great feedback on my personal page as well as in my VIP page. So on my personal page, it was actually one of my teamies, Jennifer, who's on here today, who mentioned Samaritan House. And so what it does is it allows me to interact with her, ask her, what is it about Samaritan House that she loves, which she told me they've helped domestic violence women. They've helped get her a lot of her friends off their feet after leaving a bad relationship or situation. And so it was really nice. What she also did that I wasn't expecting was she tagged itself. And so by tagging the organization, it linked me to the organization and the organization responded on top of that. So that was a really nice, like it all came together perfectly. And then in addition to that, it also helped me. I had a conversation with an old friend today about something completely non-Sensi related, but she brought it back to Sensi. We were catching up, seeing how each other were doing. We used to live in the same neighborhood in North Carolina when we were both military wives there. She has since divorced that husband and moved on. And one of her little girls, Kennedy, is a huge entrepreneur at heart. She sells cake pops. She started her own vendor event for children. It was like a vendor event.
Uh-oh, is it my internet or is it hers?
It's hers. Mine's frozen too.
Yeah, mine's, I can't see her, but I mean, she's frozen, but you guys are fine.
Okay. All right. Let's give her a second. I'll message her and let her know.
She's big frozen.
Yeah. I don't even see her face anymore.
Nope, just a black screen.
Technology, gotta love it.
Oh.
Okay, so I guess while we're waiting, Allison, did you have any notes you wanted to kind of share with us while we're waiting for her?
I will gladly hop in with that. Oh, she said, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
I will gladly hop in with that. Let me fix my stuff here. I don't have anything to share. I didn't come completely prepared. It's been a whole week, I'm telling you. But what I will say is with fundraising, I have had a lot of people who have told me, like underneath me, like front line, my downline, even people in there who have made their best out of just fundraising. I have one specifically who I tried to convince her to join tonight. She is actually currently at a festival doing exactly that. Yes. So she was telling us about how her best option is usually when she does it, she runs it, and instead of doing the full percentage, she does 15%. So say they sell their $200, she would give them 15% instead of their 25. And the reason is obviously she still needs money, but as she started doing it, she has told me that her favorite way to do it is either scent packs or scent circles. She has, however, said that she has a couple of times done full catalog. I have only ever done one full catalog fundraiser, and I will tell you it did not do any at all successful. And I think that's just because people feel too much pressure with that. But I will tell you, with a Scent Circle fundraiser, you can offer them a 3-pack, and they're like, oh, hey, I like that deal, and I can use all 3 of these, and that works out. So it was kind of one of those things that I will most definitely agree also with the fact that Jasmine made the post that if you had the $500 to donate, because that's going to get people talking about how you could specifically run that fundraiser. I have a girl who runs one every year, and it's for the suicide prevention. She does, I run it, like it's one specific girl who like comes to me for it every year. Her name is Jessie. Her sister actually killed herself a couple years ago on April Fool's Day. So right around April Fool's Day every year, we run this exact same thing, and people will donate to it. And then we donate all of the proceeds to the suicide prevention. Sorry, my dog is fighting with my blanket. It was like over the side of the chair, and he keeps literally jumping up here and pulling it back. We don't mess with this Hensy blanket. It's not a thing. That's my baby.
All right, well, thank you. I think Jasmine's back.
I'm back.
Okay, there she is.
Welcome.
I don't know what happened. I was talking and then I saw everybody freeze and I was still talking and then it just okay, so I don't know where I left off, but please tell me. Little girl, did I get into the little girl story?
You were explaining how when somebody you were explaining how early or later today somebody had responded to your post about, hey, if you had $500, who would you donate to?
Okay.
You had started talking. Yeah, you had started talking about the little girl who was an entrepreneur, the one who said,
yes,
or the one who sells cake pops.
Perfect. So she tells me that her daughter was asking, if she can start selling Scentsy. And I said, well, we can do one of 2 things. We can, get her under you to sell Scentsy, or we can just let her wait until she's 18. She's 12 years old right now. And she's like, I don't think she's willing to wait. I was like, okay, well, Georgia, you know what you need to do. But what ended up happening was we went into this conversation about her using the money from selling cake pops to fund her wrestling lessons. She's a little wrestler, and so she pays for her own lessons because mom doesn't have the child support from ex-husband anymore. She is fully funding the 3 children herself. They're very active in sports. And so I said to her, you know what? I have a really great idea. What if I did a fundraiser? What if you give me free reign to your daughter and I partner up with her? We do a fundraiser. She can continue selling fully off the catalog. She can do a Scent Circle fundraiser. She can do whatever fundraiser she wants to. And I'm going to give her 100% of my commission. And she can use that money to pay for whatever she needs to. And she loved the idea. So, right off the bat today, posting that one time and sparking that conversation got me a fundraiser already for August. And I told her, I was like, we'll try it for August. We'll do August 1st to August 31st. If it works out beautifully, great. If it doesn't, we can look back and reevaluate and see what we can do differently. I was like, but she already has a vendor event scheduled for next weekend. And, she's already in this thing. And so all she has to do is put a catalog right there and a sign that says, please help support fundraise for my wrestling lessons. All
cute is that.
So it was a beautiful marriage with that relationship. And so I'm really excited to get started. But I am so excited about the different fundraising things that I have learned over all the training that I've done, and just how other people are doing it successfully, and now how we're going to take this and learn from it and mimic it and see how we can make it happen. So the purpose of the fundraiser, right, is always to give back to the community. If you're doing it in hopes of getting PRV, there are ways to do that as well. So, we go into our Scentsy business with multiple reasons as to how we want to raise our money. Are we raising money because we're needing it as an income? Are we raising money because are we selling things because we are trying to earn an incentive trip? There are so many different reasons behind why, but the fundraising aspect of it should always still kind of be true to the core, which is giving back to the community. And so there are many ways you can, skin this chicken. I hate that saying, but I'm going to say it is you can make this fundraiser however you want to. You can come out of pocket however much you want to, but the idea is to break even and give back to the community. So there are full catalog fundraisers is a great example. A full catalog fundraiser is, hey, you've got this catalog, you're gonna sell anything that sells from this catalog under your special link, which is a party link, will be all the commissions. The way I would do it is all the commissions will go to you and your organization, which is 25%. So everybody starts out at 20%. Once you get certified, you have 25%. Now it's up to you whether or not you want to go beyond that if you're always hitting your 2000 number. So I'm going to see if I can share screen, make sure that one didn't disappear when everything went dark on me.
Uh-oh.
So, oh no, yes, it is here.
Yay!
All right, can you guys see that? So I went and recreated this and then realized that the training that I was looking at already had it. So y'all just enjoy the recreation here. So fundraising. So fundraisers are a great way to expand your circle, which is the purpose of, okay, so you're telling me, Jasmine, that I'm going to give away all of my commission. So what is the perk in this for you? You're expanding your circle. Every single person you meet from this fundraiser is going to be a brand new person you've never met before. There's potential for you to sell to them, host to them, have them join you as a team member in the future, especially those who do really, really well in the fundraiser. You can tell them, pump the brakes. You're actually really, really good at this. Have you ever considered doing what I do and having your own Scentsy business? And so that is a great segue into you having multiple types of conversations with these new people that you're meeting. You're giving back to your community, you're gaining potential hosts. So before you close out and before you, when you're packaging up your items, also put a little flyer in there talking about hosting parties so that they can earn freebies and half off, or hosting parties in order to do a fundraising event for something else. I mean, usually they have multiple children. And so those multiple children are in different types of sports. So the different types of activities that you actually can be raising for, let's see, here are some ideas in case you're not seeing it like I did. So you can do sports, you can do dance, cheer, you can do veteran type groups, homeless groups, nursing homes, go to a church, an animal rescue, any youth groups, Girl Scouts, Humane Society. One of the trainers were joking and she said, you know, it's easy for her to sell fundraisers of scent circles and Scentsy items because it's like, you don't get fat from Scentsy, you know, like it's not like Girl Scout cookies where it's harder for people because they're like, oh no, I'm on a diet, I'm trying to be good. And then it's harder to sell Girl Scout cookies. And those boxes have gotten smaller and the prices have increased. So that doesn't compute for me at all. But it's just a little bit easier. It really makes it lighthearted when you can joke about something like that and you say, well, scent circles don't make you fat. So, you know, it's just a lot easier. So this is the different types that I personally really enjoyed when I watched one of the more recent trainings, which is this. It's very simple, the showcase brochure. The reason why they're using the showcase brochure versus the catalog is because A, the brochure is cheaper. It folds up, it's lighter, it's easier to mail if you need to mail it, but it is cheaper to purchase those in a pack than it is to purchase the whole catalog. In addition to that, the bundle section that's in the back of your Scentsy catalog is not accessible to them. So if you have Tori, Allison, Jalissa all buying 2 wax bars each, you're all purchasing 2 wax bars, but me as a consultant, I'm going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. I'm going to put that into a 6-pack, and that extra money that came from the 6-pack is going towards the organization. So now you just gave back $6 more from that 6-pack to the organization. So that's how you have to just be smart with how you're combining these orders at the end. So this is where it goes. On the left-hand side, the showcase brochure, the profit is the % of the commission that you agree to give to the organization. So you tell them ahead of time, 100% of my commission for me would be 25%. For a essential consultant who's brand new, who's not certified yet, would be 20%. When they hear 100% of my commission is going to their organization, it's beautiful. Like, it's no longer salesy, it's no longer any of that. All of that is wiped away, and it's just a good cause that you're doing for the community. In addition to that, we all know that if you hit $2,000, you also get a $5,000 bonus that month if you sell it within that month's period. So you can also, if you want to, offer the organization the additional 5% if their group sells over $2,000. So it's a nice incentive, but some people do use that additional 5% to help with the cost of supplies. You know, the cost of the envelopes that you're going to be putting together, the cost of the additional order forms that you're going to have printed, the effort that you're going to put into tying your scent circles or tying your products together, the cellophane, the everything. So you can save that 5% for you. And then remember, if you are lead consultant or above, you also get paid a bonus on top of that if you hit your leadership numbers. So there are still ways where you're still getting paid, but you're also hitting your PRV. So when it comes to this trip incentive that we all want to go on, this is where those PRVs are going to come in, and it's going to contribute to your trip incentive numbers. The second one, which is, I love the second one. It's very simple. It's very straightforward, which is a 6-pack of Scent Circle, which is what Allison was alluding to earlier. So if you look at the 6-pack of Scent Circle, we are profiting. Your profit amount, the profit for the organization will be the amount the customer is overpaying. So you see, I put 6-pack for $20. You know, in our catalog, the 6-pack's actually $15. What you're doing is you're having them overpay the 6-pack. Did I do that math right? Yeah, I did. So what happens? So I added the shipping in there just for you to take into consideration that anything over $350 is free shipping anyway, so you really don't have to factor that in. And hopefully you have a successful fundraiser that's over $350. The 6-pack here is 15 PRV. It's $15. What I did was I applied Florida sales tax. You can apply whatever your state sales tax is to it, which makes the 6-pack $16.05. If they're already overpaying at $20, you subtract out the $16.05. They are now making a $3.95 commission, $3.95 overpayment commission, not commission, overpayment profit off of that one 6-pack. In addition to that, I'm giving them 25% of my commission. So off of 15 PRV times 25%, they're also getting $3.75 of my commission. So they walk away from one 6-pack of Scent Circles with $7.70. Now that doesn't sound like much, but when you have 10 kids who sells 10 6-packs, that's 100, and you just nailed yourself. What's the math, you guys? What's the math? Hold on, I don't want to lie. We're recording. 7.7 times 100 is $770 in profit, just off of 10 kids selling 10 6-packs. So the goal is always to say, okay, if you have 20 kids on your team, let's make a goal of each child sells 10 6-packs, and that's it. You give them a very easy, obtainable. I mean, everybody's got at least 10 people in their family. Hopefully they have grandparents, great aunts and uncles, people who want to support. And the easy verbiage for a Scent Circle for a 6-pack is, this is 6 months worth of fragrance for your car. You know, and how easy is that? It just makes sense. And so 6 months worth of fragrance for your car for $20. How easy is that? So that's why I love this one. The next one, the third row down, is our new travel twist. What I really loved when this one SSD did her training was that she mentioned, you know, sometimes, you know, Scent Circles, people just are fixed with their car trees. They love their car trees. They love whatever it is they're already fixed to. They don't want change. And so you can't sell them something different if they're already like obsessed with whatever products they have. So here's the travel twist. It's brand new, but it's only sold as one for $7. So we made our own. So for a 3-pack, it's $25. And the same thing, if you start looking at this, you're gonna do an overpayment. You're gonna do an overcharge of it, which is here. Where if the customer pays $25, but it's actually 21, you add the tax, yada, yada, they are getting $2.53 of overpayment for each 3-pack that they sell. And then you give them 25%, which is what I would do, of your commission. And then they walk away with $7.78 in profit. So you see how like it becomes extremely profitable for the organization to want to pick one of these. And that's where it comes back to, Alice had mentioned earlier, the catalog one's just hard because it's too much for people. Sometimes you have to take choices away from them and you have to just tell them this is what is available. And so if you narrow it down, I've seen people do fragrance flower fundraisers, which for me, I'm not a huge fan because it really does come down to, if you're going to you're going to get the most bang for your buck by doing these fundraisers. If it was a fundraiser for a fragrance flower, you would overcharge it to $20, but you're only getting one flower. It just doesn't seem like they're getting a whole lot. And it's not as appealing to them. And then you have to explain to the child or the parent who's doing the fundraiser what a fragrance flower is, and it's too much education. This is a lot easier, a lot more simple when you have kids involved in fundraisers. The next thing I wanted to touch on is I did make a second page of this, and I'll share this with each of the leaders so that you can share it with your teams. But tax exempt also, when it comes to fundraising, you want to take into consideration any organization who has a 501c3. But there is a stipulation behind having a company that, or an organization that is 501c3, is you have to have Sensi go through and approve that and validate the documentation. Sometimes organizations think that they are, but they've never actually filed it properly. And so this is where Sensi comes in, and they are our partners in this. You email the documentations that they have that's proving that they're a 501c3 to salestax@sensi.com, and they will verify the tax exempt status and say, yes, this is a tax exempt company. In which case, if it is, then you can move forward and let them know, yes, you are approved tax exempt company. Our headquarters have approved it. And then their profits now have gotten substantially higher. So that's all it is. You know, you take the tax out of it, and then the overpayment is the overpayment. There's nothing else taken from it, and their profits become even higher. So if you have a group of 10 kids selling 10 six packs, each one's walking away with $807. Each team will be walking away with $875. That is a lot of money. That is uniforms, that is new supplies, that is competition fees, that is travel costs to help take these kids to their travel destination, whatever it is. 875 is a lot. And you can multiply that by 2, by 3, by 4, depending on how big their team is or how big the organization is. One of the other trainers had mentioned she sells between $12,000 and $15,000 per fundraiser, because she's doing, it was her husband was a teacher, so she's doing their school. So she works with the PTA to do this. But she says start small, and I would highly recommend this. If you're doing a huge school, if you get that right off the bat, kudos to you. You know, like, we're all here to support you, and if you need your leadership support, please reach out to us. But that is huge. But if you start small by going onto your social media and asking your friends right off the bat, if you had $500 to donate to your organization of choice, who would you choose and why? Start that conversation. It will start with your friends first and foremost. I did that this morning at 9 a.m. and by 12 p.m. I was sitting outside while my son was getting his haircut, and I got a fundraiser out of it. You know, and then on top of that, she also mentioned a Gentle Giant Rescue, which I'm reaching out to them as well. So, I mean, like, I still have work to do, and I'm not done with this fundraiser stuff yet. And that was just one question, one simple question that did not sound salesy. It did not sound anything. It's truly just asking where everybody's passion is. And that's it. Any questions?
I absolutely love all of this. I was talking to Dorothy because, you know, our SSD, Dorothy, she does fundraisers, and I shared some of that stuff with you guys. And I told her today, I've never personally done a fundraiser. So I was like, I have it on my list. Like, I have a little sticky note with my list to reach out to a couple of daycares in the area to get approved for some of the districts around me to become an approved vendor to do fundraisers. It's like, this is scary, but this makes it a little bit, the way you broke it down seems a lot easier than what I was thinking. Like, when I was thinking of fundraiser, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be too much. I don't want to do all this. But the way you just broke it down made it so much more, I don't know, feasible, like, you know, tangible. It makes it seem like it's going to be a lot easier than what I was thinking.
Yeah.
She turned it into bite-sized pieces. Hey,
Yes.
Jasmine, I have a question. You mentioned sending the email to Sensi to make sure that they're 501c3 qualified. Yeah. Can you restate that email address for me, just so I make sure I write it right?
Sure. Sales tax.
Oh, duh.
At Sensi.com. Yeah.
Rough catch.
Don't ask. Okay.
So going back to the
Very
compliance
much.
piece, because Tori, you just reminded me, I like skipped over like the actual compliance piece behind all of this. In order to make sure that you are Sensi compliant, because they will call you.
100%.
You want to make sure that you ask for permission first. So you want written or email approval from the organization to do a fundraiser in their name. That is the key. You can't just willy-nilly go, I work at the Children's Hospital. I can't just willy-nilly go, I'm doing a buddy fundraiser for Nicholas Children's Hospital. And then like, and just assume that because I work there, they're going to be okay with it. I need to get written permission from our foundation and from our fundraiser people that it's okay that I am using their name in order to do this. And so you can do that if you're going to do a fire station and help support some firefighters, a police precinct, a school, anything of that nature. The person in control of that approval needs to just say, yes, that's okay. And all you have to do is you can have that face-to-face conversation, but just say, perfect, Tori, if you don't mind, I'm going to send you an email just kind of explaining all of this. If you could just respond back to say, yes, I approve the fundraiser to be done at our school. That's all I need so that I'm completely within compliance. I have a designated location organization and the organization has actually approved me. And that's it. And so then you just identify the start and end date and go from there. And then year after year, hopefully, if it goes really well, they'll come back to you and keep wanting to do these fundraisers over and over. The one thing we cannot do, there's two things we cannot do. No national tragedies. So if there's, hopefully not, no mass shootings, no terrorist attacks, no nothing that's a national tragedy. That's obviously something you can't tangibly get an approval from a person or an organization. You can't do those. So you're not supposed to be tapping into that, because then it looks like we're taking advantage of a situation that's occurring that's happening somewhere in the nation. No cash donations are allowed either. So you might be doing a Cent Circle donation. You might be doing a buddy donation, and somebody says, let me just give you $100. You can't do that. You can say, let's take your $100 and apply it toward blah, 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 and then give them the product, or ask them what they would like for you to do with the product. If they want to just contribute back and give it back to maybe the fundraiser host, So you can do that, but definitely you can't just take cash donations and put in your little pocket. So those are the two things you can't do. And that's it.
Awesome. And then somebody asked in the comments, do we collect the money ourselves and put all of the orders in?
That's a great question. This is where I've personally always just said Venmo me or Zelle me, but that was because I had more manageable fundraisers to do. Somebody and so one of the trainers that I watched who has the $12,000 to $15,000 fundraisers, she actually has all of the money funneled to the school. So whether it's cash or check or whatever, it's going to the school's treasurer, and the treasurer will then cut her a check. And the way that she gets paid, the way that she receives the money and give them back their fundraiser money is in two parts. The first part will be, you sold $10,000 worth of Cent Circles. In that $10,000 of it was $3,000 in overpayment. So, we're selling Cent Circles six packs for $20. Of that, I'm just throwing numbers out, $3,000 was overpayment. You write me a check for $7,000. You keep the first part of that payment. You've already earned that. And so that's yours. Then I take that $7,000, I place my group orders, chop it up into $500 parties so that you get more bang for the buck. You keep the host credit and the host freebies, because that's not part of your agreement for the organization. So you keep that. This is another thing that you benefit from. And then on the 12th to the 15th of the following month, so ideally you want everything to fall in 1 month, right? The 12th and the 15th of the following month, after you've gotten paid, you write a check back to them of your 25% commission. So that's the second part of the payment for their commission or their fundraiser funds. So it happens in two parts.
Yeah.
And let it go through their treasurer.
Yeah. And so that's one way to do it. I've seen also other people with the smaller ones that are more manageable. They do take the payment themselves, or everything is online. Like, so with COVID, during the COVID time, people weren't allowed into the school to do the talks on fundraisers or anything like that. And so they would just send the link. So they would send the link home with all of the kids with the QR code on the packets that they sent out that link and told them just to order straight from the link itself. And then they didn't have to worry about packaging anything, they didn't have to worry about sorting anything, they didn't have, because it all went straight to those customers. So that's one way. And then it just, you know, as that party builds up and builds up and builds up, that's where the piece is going. Again, that's if you're doing a full catalog, you're doing all of that. So again, it depends on what you're doing with those fundraisers.
Yeah.
And I
I have a
have
question.
some documents. I have some documents I'm going to share also with the leaders as well. So once I get those shared, we'll get them out to everybody as well.
Perfect.
Who had a question?
I do.
Hey, Christy.
Hey, how are you? Sorry I was late. I've been at work. So you just mentioned sharing the link. What happens if that link hits the 500? You know, obviously you've already shared the link with everybody. So how long are the fundraisers typically for? And, you know, I guess in that, if you're only sharing the link, then you wouldn't really be able to break it up into 500 increment parties. Is that
Yeah,
true?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'm gonna ask. Dorothy's one that has done that before, so I'm gonna ask Dorothy a little bit more on that. But I don't think you would be able to swap that out the link because you've already sent it out, unless you know have. So one thing I did when I was doing a fundraiser with the PTO, not the PTO, the Sunshine Committee at one of the campuses, I actually had a Facebook group for them also. So I put my QR code for the Facebook group on the everything that I gave to them. They were able to join that so that they could see any LTOs or anything that we're releasing during their party. And then if I changed the link, I put that link in that Facebook group. So it's going to depend on who goes there. You're going to have to leave that one link open because that's what everybody has. Or, you know, you can always have party 1, 2, and hope that they pick the one that goes to their campus.
And,
Would
and
it be beneficial to set up, depending on the number of people participating in the actual fundraiser, setting up a link? Like if you had a classroom of 20 kids, is that too much to manage to have 20 links open for each one of those particular students?
I would think so, because then they'd have to all hit at least 350 or 500 to get those
I see.
the
I see.
extra
Okay,
thing.
yeah. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
the training piece would be when you're speaking with the organizer who's doing the fundraiser with you, you're going to tell them, make sure the kids, the families pick, you know, Miami Sunset High School. Make sure that name is always selected for a party when you're checking out so that it contributes to it. Because otherwise that it's not gone, but that money will not be contributing to you, because I can still have PWS orders coming in. I can still have Sensi.com orders coming through, and I don't realize that it's not, you know, or that it is affiliated with a fundraiser. So the education piece has to be always make sure that when you check out, you are selecting the name of the school or the organization or the team. Yeah, and I would emphasize that over and over, just so that they know, if you want to make sure the money goes back to you,
Right.
pick the team.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions?
So I missed the beginning of the call, and I know that you were recording. So I just want to make sure, did you guys introduce how you actually roll out and present it? Okay, I'll just go back and listen.
Well-
To present it to like once you've secured the fundraiser itself, how do you present that to the organization or the group that's going to be participating?
Let me see if I can open up and I'll share this with you, or well, yeah, I'll share this with you, Tori, as well.
Okay.
And while Jasmine's doing that, actually, Christy, that's a phenomenal question. I was wondering the same thing, as far as even going a step before that in introducing yourself, basically cold calling. You know, how do you reach out to any of those groups that you think may be interested? Like, I have literally typed up an entire intro letter today on my own, but I have zero idea what to go by. So I'm just like, well, shoot, I hope this is right. But what do you guys normally do? Those of you that have done fundraisers in the past, do y'all cold reach, or what do you guys do?
That's what I'm going to be doing.
That's right. Tori, you said you hadn't done one.
Yeah, I haven't done one. So yeah, I'm gonna start. Like I said, I have a note to reach out to 3 different daycares in the area. So I'm gonna, send them an email or drop by and give them a little, catalog or a little packet with the fundraiser information in it, just to kind of introduce myself, give them that information so that they can see it and then follow up with them as well. So yeah, something like what she has right there.
So after you've secured, this is what I have. And I didn't do anything special or unique. Sensi Workstation actually has a letter written like this. So all I did was rewrote it to make it pretty and in my marketing colors. And so I have a Dear Fundraising Coordinator, and then it has the details in there. What I'm gonna add to this as well is the start and end date so that it really is identified there. And then this is the flyers that I was gonna use as my cold emails. But what I ended up doing was just doing, what I'm gonna do is reach out, utilize my friends as leverage on social media who have already responded to my initial question today of, if you had $500 to donate, to which organization would you donate and why? And so I'm actually gonna use their lead and just say, hey, my friend Georgia mentioned your organization, I understand. And actually it was unusual because they responded, and then what I did was I looked on their thing and I can see they've been doing, Zia, the athletic wear, they've been doing fundraisers with them, does not look successful. I'm just going to be a judge here, but did not look successful. They only had like 6 people in the party group, and so I'm going to really pitch the heck out of Sensi and just be like, listen, if you can get X amount of people to do this, you'll be able to raise money to buy kibbles for your animals. And so I'm going to definitely use that. So I'm going to change this one up a little bit, make it less team sports and more, I'm going to use like animal pictures. I'm going to use I'm going to be more strategic in how I use this one, but I'm just going to switch out the pictures, and instead of team, organization. Raise money for your team. So this is the Sense Circle here. This is an info flyer that's going to be going to each child who participates in a Sense Circle fundraiser. This here actually goes to the organizer. So this is a no like chronological order. This one goes to the organizer to explain to them how much they can earn with each Sense Circle being sold. So these are potential fundraising scenarios. This is going to be your winner here, because once they see these monies, they're going to be very interested by it, because if you're telling them, if you have 10 participants and each of them sells only 5 6-packs, you're walking away with $250 in fundraiser money, and then the number goes up. If you can get each 10 of your kids to sell 20 packs of 6-packs, you just raise $1,000 right off the bat. And that's like the easiest thing ever when it comes to trying to raise money and get new equipment for your team or whatever it is. So this here is your cold call, cold email type material. And then this here was I think it was fall, spring, or spring, summer Sense Circles. So what one of the other leaders did was she actually cut off like half of the rub and sniff stickers, and she actually cut it off and then put them on here so that they actually had something to smell as well. So you can do that if you have a lot of time on your hands, but that's too much for me. I might throw one on there.
I was gonna say, ain't nobody got time for all that.
Yeah.
But now, can we just reiterate that an organization and a group, they do not necessarily have to be, tax exempt, 501c3. They don't have to be tax exempt, right? As long as we charge tax for any group that's not tax exempt, then we are on the up and up and we're good to go, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they don't have to be at all. Yeah.
Are you asking for that information up front so that it doesn't mess you up on the backside?
Yes. Yes, 100%. And often organizations who are tax exempt, the moment you show them the first, let's go back here, this one. The moment you show them the first example, they're gonna be like, oh no, we're tax exempt.
Oh yeah.
They will tell you in a heartbeat. My mom owned a bridal salon in DC, and the moment a diplomat came through and who was tax exempt, we knew right away, because they make that very clear. So they're very proud of it, and they should be, because for whatever reason they have it. So You know, you give them this example right here and they're like, oh, no, we don't get taxed. We're tax exempt. We're 501c3. Perfect. Then please provide me with your documentation. I'm going to have Sensi validate it, because what happens is there's two things that happen. Sensi you are not going to be able to put your order in without it being taxed. Your order will automatically be taxed no matter what. So you have to actually, I wrote the notes here. You have to contact Sensi. There's two ways to do it. You can pay right up front the tax, and Sensi will reimburse you for it if they've approved it. So make sure it's approved. Otherwise, you're going to come up short. They have to approve it. If it's been approved, you can either A, pay it up front and they'll reimburse you, or B, call Sensi and say, I'm getting ready to place the order. This is an approved tax exempt organization, and they will manually remove that tax from that party. So you have to have your party already kind of like perfectly done, and then they'll manually come in and wipe it for you.
So that wouldn't work with a link, correct? Because it's automatically going to charge tax.
Yes.
Okay. So those would have to be manual orders that you would have to enter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what, and Christy, with fundraisers, a lot of the time, like I said, during COVID, things kind of changed and shifted with the fundraisers because there was no, going and collecting the money, going and talking to anybody. You weren't able to go on campus. But prior to COVID, nobody really did fundraisers online. It was all, you collect the money and you put it all in, you get all of the product, you bag everything, you make it all pretty, and then you deliver everything to whatever organization that it is. So that, the online piece of fundraising just started with COVID. Or not just.
Okay, so going back to the question I had earlier with regards to presentation, is this the paraphernalia that you're presenting to the organizer? So for example, I used to be a teacher and I was the advisor for National Junior Honor Society. So I did a lot of fundraisers with different people, but now that I sell Sensi, to approach that advisor, is this what you're presenting to them, or is the other form that you started with? Or how are you getting the information out to the students and it's not just reading?
If you're trying to get their buy-in, I would 100% do the presentation. If you want to do a full catalog presentation, bring a warmer and a wax bar, and then just warm it in front of them and let the scent do the speaking for you. And then you can just give them, as you're going through, as the warmer is warming the wax, you're explaining how much they can potentially earn, or the different types of fundraiser they can choose. You can do a full catalog, which is what you're seeing here. Bring a scent circle so that they can experience that. Bring a travel twist if if you want to consider that in one of your options, a fragrance flower, whatever it is you want to give them. Like, line up the options like, here you go. This is what you have to work with. I'm going to tell you this, and this is probably the easiest and most bang for your buck. This and this will be a little bit more complicated because there's too many options, or it's not as great bang for your buck. And so that's like, this is where you start just really assertively kind of telling them, like, I would 100% go in this direction with the way how old the children are and stuff like that. It's easier to explain a scent circle than anything else, and a travel twist. And so that would be your presentation, and then just let them choose from there. And the education piece for the children, like if they choose to do a scent circle, would just be this right here, like this one flyer, and this is going to be in the front of your envelope so that they know this is what you're doing. You're going to sell a 6-pack. I would even add in here, because this is older, every scent circle typically lasts 2 to 6 weeks. I would even add in there, you get 6 months of fragrance for your vehicle, and just throw that in there too, because then that sounds even better.
And I'm gonna jump in real quick. I'm gonna share my screen. I think what some of you guys were asking were what to do first before you even get the go ahead for everything. So this letter that I have, and it's old. It hasn't been updated, but it will be something that was shared with me, probably from Dorothy or one of the girls. But it is, whoa, what is on my screen? I don't know what I'm sharing. Okay, do y'all see the letter, the fundraiser proposal letter?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just a proposal letter that you can send out. So if you're doing a drop off with a couple of new people, you can put this as a fronter. You can throw a sample in there. You can do a cent circle if that's what the fundraiser that you want to talk up, and put this in there. It's going to talk about everything. Talks about the profit, talks about the, how long it's ran 2 weeks. You can go in there and just say it's just cent circle instead of talking about the other pieces that we have. It talks about the incentive. It talks about, how much would the organization make off of it, different pieces like that. So this is a good proposal letter that you could look at, share with people. Like I said, I have a folder that I will share with you guys that has different pieces. Some people also do prizes to kind of up it. So again, when you have that extra money or you're doing that 20%, that extra 5% can go towards giving away also gift cards, because a lot of the times the kids aren't going to be excited about selling Scentsy. They're going to want something like this instead. So this is something else that you could use for that as well. If they sell so much money, then they can get one of these things. So that's just another idea that you can do as well. But again, that proposal letter is going to be what I think some of you were asking, like, how do you do the cold calling? How do you just bring this up? How do you start talking to people about the fundraiser opportunity?
No, that's really great, Tori, just because I'm not a parent. I don't have any kids. I don't have access to the school districts. And I'm not saying that parents do, but you do. And so if you're on the PTA or but I do have a teaching background. So obviously I have access to teachers. And so I think that's a good way to infiltrate your connections and your network.
Yeah. So my kids, yes, I do have kids. You're right on that one, but mine are all grown. My boys are 20 and 21. My daughter is 17, but she's homeschooled since the beginning of COVID. So we're out of the schools per se. So I feel you on that one. What I did though, and this kind of touches on your teaching background, was I went back, hang on, I'm not eating anymore. I know it's really hard to stare at a black screen. There you go. Hi. I didn't want y'all to have to watch me eat. So what I did was I actually went back to groups that I had previously either volunteered with or that my kids had at some point been linked to. Like, for example, my daughter was in choir in middle school, God knows how many years ago. And I actually reached out to the choir and I just sent them an email, or the choir director. I sent her an email. I said, listen, here's what I do. Here's how, we used to know each other, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea if it was the right thing, but she actually emailed me back about half an hour ago. And she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad, blah, 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 let's get this show on the road. So really it's for me anyway. And I am new, but it was a matter of, okay, where did I have a link at one point? And what has been important to me? Samaritan House, like Jasmine was saying, 2 of my friends literally would be dead had it not been for Samaritan House giving them a place to come out of a really bad, life, whatever. But there's that link, there's always a link to something. And the places that I reached out to that I thought wouldn't respond to me at all were the first ones to respond, because nobody else thinks of them. Samaritan House notwithstanding, but like a little bitty middle school choir, and I'm in Virginia Beach. We got middle schools everywhere. They are sprouting middle schools. So you would think that they had already had the opportunity. They didn't. Nobody else offered it because everybody figured somebody else already had. So, and you may just be able to play up that teacher like, listen, no, I don't have kids, but you know what? I did struggle as a teacher. And one of my fundraisers that's happening in August is actually a support a teacher party. I don't know if you were on when I was telling Tori about it, but it's an online party. So it's a full catalog party. But what I'm doing is donating my entire 25% to the teacher that my host has named. And I'm cutting her a check so that she can stock up her classroom. We don't start school until right after Labor Day. So the party's in August, she'll have that leeway. So, even something as little as that, it sucks when you have kids because everybody thinks you can tap the schools and everything else. But for me, I'm actually jealous of you that you don't have kids because you have a different, and National Honor Society, girl, I couldn't have done it. Could
Well, I
not
think
have
you bring up a good point, because a lot of times the advisors, the leaders for those organizations they are tortured with the you have to go find a fundraiser to support. You have to go and find the animal shelter, or you have to go find it. So, or the cause that you want to support. Well, teachers, if you're a good teacher, I mean, my opinion, you don't have the time for that, because
No,
you're
you
trying
don't.
you're trying to structure your classroom and support your kids.
Mhm.
And so I think it's great, that you guys are giving tools and resources for us to reach out to build our network, or at least reach out to those organizations for just to inquire. I mean, if you're working Cincy and you're not used to the word no yet, you might want to get used to the word no, and then just keep on moving.
I'm so good
so
at no for an answer.
Yeah. So rejection is my middle name. No, I'm kidding. But I think that's really good, because I did have the perception as like, I'm not going to do a fundraiser. I don't have kids. I don't have access to the schools. I can't do this. But then I thought about it just recently when Dorothy did a presentation. I used to be a teacher, a middle school teacher. They do tons of fundraisers. So let me tell you, I have access to the schools. I just had to get outside of you're not a mom, you don't get it, you're not going to understand it. So I think you just have to get
If
creative.
you were a teacher, I hate to tell you, you were a mom. I mean,
There's
And they're
some truth.
probably thinking she's got a kid walking behind her. What do you mean you're not a
That's
mom?
my niece, and I only get her for a week or two during the summer, and then I get to send her home.
hey, at least in my area, a lot of parents drop their kids off at school and like, go be mom. You're the mom now, raise my kid. And for me, I'm not okay with that. And I have things to say, but we're recording, so I won't say them. However,
Hey,
kudos
my
to you as a
number
teacher.
one downline is a former student of mine. She makes me feel old every day. She's 24 years old. And I'm like, girl, I taught you in 6th and 7th grade. Like,
Oh.
seriously. And she still wants to call me by my last name, Miss Parlato. And I'm like, no, you gotta call me Christy now. Like, this is not okay. So, no, you are a parent. You are an example for those kiddos. So
Yeah.
I think that there's some value in that. So I have a feeling that even if I went back to my old school and tried to infiltrate some of those teachers,
You
I might
could.
be able to do that. So,
Absolutely. And I'd love to hear how well you do.
yeah,
So
we'll see.
forget them and their no's. Every time you hear no, you call me and I will tell you yes, just to say yes.
Tori doesn't let me do no very often either. So, but I think I want to figure out another way to generate income and
Go on a trip.
support the community. I think it's more about supporting the
sorry.
community and getting recognized, not only as an organization, as Cincy, but just there's just something that, when you know that your Cincy consultant's going to support you, no matter what it is, whether it is a horrific disaster, that doesn't mean that you're doing a fundraiser from that disaster. But when you show up, they're like, wow, why are you here? I'm just here to support you guys. I'm not here to collect money. I'm not here to do anything. I'm just being a face-to-face interaction for the community.
Yeah.
So I think it's good.
I just brought a hug.
And just brought a hug. I love it.
I just brought you a hug.
Thank you for taking the time to explain this, because it is it's intimidating, I think, but
I mean, I flat out told all you guys, like, this is not something I was ever thought I'd be doing or looking into doing. And now I'm like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, no, when I heard $12,000 to $15,000 a fundraiser, I was like, oh, it's on.
Oh, honey, no, honey, no.
It's on.
I'll take, honestly, I'll be happy with 12 to 1500 starting out. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a little goals kind of gal.
I mean, I feel so good to know that you can like give back to the community and help them buy their equipment.
Yep.
Like how many times have I seen sports teams struggle or kids not be able to play certain sports because of that? And so I'm all about this. Like this to me is like a no-brainer, because you're, for me, 100% giving back commissions to this organization. And so if I'm not winning from this, per se, I'm not financially winning from this, then yeah, of course, this is awesome. So
Well, if you think about our education system as a whole, teachers are not into teaching for the money. They're in it for the rewards of just helping other people. And so I know as a teacher, I spent way more money on my classroom and the supplies and my students because I was in a low SES neighborhood, that it didn't matter because it gave me such satisfaction to be able to be a part of every one of their lives every single day. Teachers don't do this for the money. And so we have to remember that. And then that's what we're here for, that authenticity and the simplicity of just being there for the community. And I think that that speaks volumes when it comes to Cincy.
Absolutely.
Totally relational when it comes to teaching. Now I work in the corporate world now because I wanted to make some money. So Cincy's how I'll bring the community back in,
There you go.
because
There you
it's
go.
different. Yeah. And I think church, I mean, different church organizations, there's all kinds of
Oh yeah.
ways you can infiltrate
Yeah.
fundraising.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I mean, I like to shoot guns. So next clay shoot that I'm about, I'm like, hey, let's set up a Cincy booth too.
yeah,
There
there
you
you
go.
go.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Honestly though, Scentsy Fresh or a room spray when you're trying to get rid of the gun oil smell. I'm just
Oh.
saying.
The room sprays are amazing. Oh my
I'm just
goodness.
saying, gun oil.
I love them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, ladies, I'm gonna stop recording, and then if
Oh,
we want to,
sorry.
no, it's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna stop recording. Thanks for joining tonight.